EMPATH. Relationships, Empathy, and Dark Psychology. Written by Camelia Henson. Narrated by Samantha Novak. Chapter 1. What makes us as humans empathic? Why is it that we get miserable when we see someone crying and wince when a good friend cuts his finger? Do animals feel this emotional contagion as we do? An experiment released recently in the leading journal Present Biology shows us how the brain makes us share the feelings of others, and how likewise the brain of people and rats operate when sharing feelings. For a long time, many really believed that empathy is a distinctively human sentiment that sets us apart as a more moral species. More current observations chip away at this notion. Remarkable anecdotes emerged of chimpanzees who risked drowning in heroic efforts to rescue fellow chimpanzees in aquatic peril. Research studies showed rats, not known as the noblest of moral beings, invest considerable effort to free fellow rats from a trap. Indeed, emotions are contagious amongst rats. If one receives a moderate but shocking electrical shock, the rat gets terrified and freezes. It stops all movements. Rats do this to keep away from being detected by the main risk they encounter, predators. What is fascinating is that rats that notice the anxiety of another rat have been observed to also freeze. Somehow, the fear of one rat is moved to other, nearby rats, just as we get worried around anxious people. This observation led the way to checking out the brains of humans and rats to see what systems make feelings travel from one person to another, and to comprehend whether these symptoms are similar across species. In humans, this has been done by using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, and typical experiments include two conditions: one in which the participant is exposed to a stimulus that activates an emotion, and one in which the participant witnesses someone else experience that feeling. For example, we can apply a moderate electroshock to the hand of a participant to see what brain areas are associated with feeling pain. The core brain area that activates is the anterior cingulate cortex. Most people with damage in this area no longer feel the emotional agony we associate with pain, and this region is therefore thought to be the hub of our psychological pain. Surprisingly, if you let the individual witness another person get such a shock, participants trigger brain regions involved in vision, but in addition, they also activate their cingulate cortex, just as if they were suffering themselves. That the exact same brain area is involved in pain and in experiencing the pain of others resulted in the speculation that it could contain pain mirror nerve cells that map the pain of others on our own sense of pain. Discomfort mirror nerve cells remained theoretical speculation, a kind of Higgs boson of emotional empathy, much speculated about but unseen. By recording from individual neurons in the same brain regions of rats, the existence of pain mirror neurons have now been verified. In the rat cingulate cortex, many nerve cells responded when the rat felt pain itself, but not when it was only scared by a tone. These nerve cells thus seems to be firmly linked to the animal's own sense of pain. Most of those pain nerve cells, however, also responded when the rat witnessed another rat in pain, and did so within less than 1/10 of a second. Like the speculations on pain mirror neurons had forecasted, the rat's cingulate cortex therefore includes afferent neurons that translate the witness pain of another into the substrate of the observer's own sufferance. That the rodent's own pain nerve cells got recruited so swiftly is telling in that it makes the sharing of pain more comparable to a fast reflex, instead of to a purposeful, reflective act of mental perspective taking. That this happens in the cingulate cortex, the very place in which people activate their brain while they witness the pain of others, shows that rats and people appear to share the standard biology of feeling sharing. We do not only share the ability to participate in the agony of others with rodents. We do so by using the same brain systems, the exact same fruits of social evolution. Empathy has roots that run deep in the tree of development and connect us with our fellow mammals. You might really wonder, how do we know that these nerve cells truly do make us share the pain of others? To answer that question, the activity of the cingulate cortex was suppressed by injecting a drug into the very brain area where the pain mirror nerve cells were found. Now, the rats that observed the pain of other rats no longer revealed signs of sharing that agony. Altering activity in the cingulate sufficed to alter emotion sharing. Demented criminals do terrible things to people without feeling the real moral shackles of remorse and empathy. Intriguingly, just as the rats with pharmacologically suppressed cingulate activity, such psychopaths show minimized activity in their own pain regions while seeing the pain of others. An animal model in which feeling sharing can be changed offers some hope for unlocking the development of drugs to stabilize empathy in clients who struggle with abnormal empathy. Though it remains hard to truly know what animals feel, the similarity across species in the brain mechanisms that are at play is striking. Perhaps the instinct we have that animals are endowed with empathy is not as irrational as some once thought. Chapter 2. How to know if you are an empath. An empath is a psychological sponge who soaks up both the positivity and the tension of other people in the world. Empaths need to learn strategies to keep their energy high and stop taking on other individuals' distress. To find out if you're an empath, take the following 20-question self-assessment, addressing mainly yes or mainly no to each question. Empath test. Have I been labeled as extremely sensitive, shy, or introverted? Do I regularly get overwhelmed or anxious? Do arguments or yelling make me ill? Do I often feel like I don't fit in? Am I drained by crowds and really need alone time to restore myself? Am I overstimulated by noise, smells, or nonstop talkers? Do I have chemical sensitivities or can't endure scratchy clothes? Do I prefer taking my own car to places so I can leave early if I need to? Do I overindulge to handle stress? Am I scared of becoming suffocated by intimate relationships? Do I get startled easily? Do I react strongly to caffeine or medications? Do I have a low pain threshold? Do I tend to socially separate? Do I soak up other individuals' tension, emotions, or signs? Am I overwhelmed by multitasking and prefer doing just one thing at a time? Do I replenish myself in nature? Do I really need a long time to recover after being with difficult people or energy vampires? Do I feel better in small cities or the country than large cities? Do I prefer one-to-one interactions or little groups rather than large gatherings? Now compute your results. If you answered yes to 1 to 5 questions, you're at least partially an empath. Responding yes to 6 to 10 questions means that you have moderate compassionate propensities. Responding yes to 11 to 15 means that you have strong empathic tendencies. Answering yes to more than 15 questions implies you are a full-blown empath. Figuring out if you're an empath will clarify your needs and which techniques to use to meet them. This is essential to gain a comfort zone in your life. Chapter 3. What to say to empathize better with your kids. When our children are upset, we grown-ups tend to want to skip the feelings and go straight to the solution. In some cases, this works. If your child is miserable about dropping her ice cream cone, just saying, "I'll get you another one," can make everything all better. But when feelings are more intense or more complicated, kids have difficulty even considering solutions till they feel heard. Talking about emotions helps kids to find out about their own and other individuals' internal experiences. Wrapping big, sloppy emotions up in words makes them appear more reasonable and therefore more workable. Aside from that, when children do not feel heard, they tend to get louder. Expressing empathy through reflection. Reflection is a way of expressing empathy that involves defining the feelings you see. It's kind of like holding up a mirror to your child to acknowledge, what you're feeling matters. I am paying attention. I am interested, and I care. Here are some phrases you may want to try. 1. The gentle query. You appear sad, grumpy, anxious. What's going on? Use this expression to open a conversation when you're picking up something is off with your child, but you are unsure what. Pick your moment carefully. You might need to do this when you are not rushing around or when there are no sisters or brothers around. Some children respond best with physical contact. Take a seat next to your child. Maybe stroke your child's hair or back. Some children respond best in more neutral scenarios. You could ask while you are walking, driving, or doing tasks together. 2. The label and acknowledge. You're feeling happy, guilty, or annoyed just because event or situation. This one is your go-to phrase. It labels your kid's emotion and links it to whatever is going on. Make sure to use your kid's comments, body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice, plus your own capability to envision yourself in your child's shoes, to define what your child is feeling and why. Sometimes parents or caregivers are scared that they may say the wrong feeling. Don't worry, your child will correct you. I'm not angry, I'm mad. Okay, that's fine. Your child is still doing the essential work of wrapping emotions into words. The careful guess. It seems like you're feeling angry, hurt, embarrassed about event or situation. With some kids, particularly teens, it pays to be tentative when reflecting feelings. Saying it seems like or it appears like acknowledges that your child is a specialist of his own feelings. 4. The exclamation. How exciting, frustrating, disappointing. This is a useful phrase for acknowledging intense emotions. You should use your own intonation and body language to convey that you are right there, clearly and emphatically knowledgeable about your kid's emotion. 5. The general paraphrase. It bothers you that event or situation. It's difficult for you when event or situation. For children who are fidgety about talking straight about emotions, these subtler ways of echoing their experience can be useful ways to ease them into a conversation about a tough subject. Though they do not obviously label feelings, they do more usually recognize stress or difficulties, so children feel less alone with their struggles. 6. The implied ideal. You wish. This phrase steps past the present facts to talk to longing. It is a gentle way of acknowledging your kids' hopes, intents, or regrets they may have. You may not have the ability to fix things for your child, but you can show you recognize how your child wants things. And when you get the hang of it, reflecting your kids' emotions isn't hard to do. Some of us have even made a profession out of doing this, simply because it works. Your child won't say, "Why, yes, what an insightful observation." But you're very likely to see a softening in your kid's face or body, or to hear a "yeah" of agreement. You could need to use a number of these phrases before you arrive there. That's okay. Do not move on to problem solving until you see or hear the softening that shows your kid feels heard. How you say the reflection is more vital than precisely what you say. Your goal is to express real caring. A distracted, impatient, or sarcastic tone of voice won't communicate empathy. At times, it can be helpful to add a qualifier like at this moment, today, or in that situation to your reflection about negative feelings. That accentuates for your child that feelings change, so she will not always feel that way. One last caution. Company people are often trained to say, "I comprehend you feel." This expression doesn't work with kids simply because it shifts the attention to I, the adult, instead of you, the child, who wants and needs to feel heard. Also, if you have ever had someone say, "I know exactly what you are going through," when that person absolutely didn't, you know how annoying it is to be dismissed and discussed in this way. Although children in some cases really appreciate hearing stories of their parents' or caregivers' youth struggles, leaping too rapidly to those can leave your kid feeling misinterpreted and even shoved aside. Just use the word you and keep away from I to keep the focus of your compassionate talk about your child. Chapter 4. The Power of Those Who Are an Earth Empath. Empaths also have an intimate communion with nature, including but not limited to with the earth, plants, and animals. The bright side is that we can deeply feel all that is positive and healthy in others and the world. The downside is that empaths become exhausted, restless, and burned out from sensory overload. Lots of my empath clients reach out to me with these signs, but were never ever identified properly by conventional doctors. Rather, they were just seen as having a panic attack, depression, or anxiety, and therefore given medications. If you recognize yourself as an empath, the big secret to supporting your instinctual connection to all living things is to build focusing and defense methods like meditation, setting clear boundaries, creating appropriate alone time to refuel, and many other methods I present in the Empath Survival Guide. Then empaths can savor the pleasure of their sensitivities. Earth Empaths. Earth empaths are a special kind of empath who is acutely attuned to the natural world and all of the Earth's changes. The prettiness of a waterfall can enliven and stimulate these empaths, while the toxicity of air pollutants can make them feel sick, tired, or depressed. How do you know if you're an Earth empath? You are highly vulnerable to intuiting the Earth's changes in your body. Sensually and energetically, you can feel the power of a thunderstorm, the loveliness of the moon, the warmth of the sun on your shoulders. What happens to the Earth is thoroughly linked to your body. The prettiness and health of the Earth nourishes and sustains you. The ocean and tides impact everybody, but specifically you. The moon and the tide control menstrual cycles in women and sleep-wake cycles for both genders. You are sensitive to weather changes and the amount of daylight. Earth empaths might experience seasonal depression, or SAD, being depressed in the winter season when the days are much shorter. The Earth, its elements, and the universe feel like family. The moon and stars have always been my companions. Ever since my youth, I have looked at the heavens and felt that my true home was there. One patient said to me that she chooses stargazing as her nightlife rather than the bars and clubs. Though surprisingly, I have learned that empaths, like myself, who have a tough time adjusting to being in this world, really need to connect to the Earth's energy so that we can more fully inhabit our bodies. Learning how to do this and not fighting it belongs to our healing. The Earth likes you. You can feel it. If you're an Earth empath, that is why you get so hurt, anxious, or have health problems when she's harmed or damaged. Your physical body is thoroughly connected to the Earth. You experience her changes just as if they were happening to you. When the Earth is happy, you are happy. When the Earth is in pain, you are also. Earth empaths might have premonitions about natural disasters or feel them intensely in their own bodies as they are taking place. One of my clients said to me, "I frequently get up just before earthquakes, and then boom, it hits." Another said, "Before earthquakes or volcanic eruptions, my body begins to shake. I feel off and not on solid ground." Another told me, "Throughout the last tsunami, I awoke from a deep sleep in a state of agitation and dread." A compassionate good friend said, "I really felt like I was hemorrhaging as a reaction to a catastrophic oil spill." Similarly, you should try to be aware of how your body responds throughout significant earth changes. Then you can put your feelings into framework and practice more self-care when they happen. As an earth empath, you may also be sensitive to solar flares. Those magnetic storms on the sun influence the magnetic fields around the earth and our bodies. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, cyclones, and twisters appear to happen after extreme solar activity. Throughout these time periods, you could experience headaches, mood swings, anxiety, or heart palpitations. Research studies have revealed an association between solar flares and increased depression, anxiety, suicides, and episodes of bipolar affective disorder. Revolutions, riots, and discontent around the world are associated with solar flares. Keep in mind, the sun is accountable for life on Earth. When it goes through changes, we feel it 93 million miles away. This experience is amplified for empaths. In order to stay lively, you want to often connect with the earth. Hang around in forests, by the ocean, or in the mountains, where you can commune with the elements and feel comfortable. If you want to deepen your bond with the earth, eat clean, healthy, and natural foods. Even better, grow them yourself. A processed food diet plan separates you from the earth because you're not consuming her energy. Routinely practice earthing. Lie flat on the earth to take in her strength and positive vibes. Wade or swim in lakes, rivers, or the ocean. Walk barefoot on the grass. Gaze at the stars. To purposefully communicate with the earth, you can tune into her by asking, "What do you feel?" Then be open to any intuitions that come. Or you can use the earth as an oracle, straight up asking her certain questions about yourself or others. She will address you through your instinct. Then follow her guidance. In native customs, earth medicine represents the healing that nature imparts. Environment is to be revered and taken care of. Being an empath, you can practice earth meditation by doing whatever you can to treasure our valuable mother world. This is a part of your purpose and a way for you to rejoice and be healthy and whole. Chapter 5. Physical Empaths. Compassionate illnesses are those in which you manifest signs that aren't your own. Most patients have come to me labeled agoraphobic, with panic disorders, chronic depression, tiredness, pain, or mysterious disorders that respond only partially to medications or psychotherapy. Some were nearly housebound or ill for several years. They would say, "I fear staying in crowds. Other people's anger, stress, and pain drain me, and I need a lot of alone time to refuel my energy." When I took a close history of all of these clients, I found out they were what I call physical empaths. People who are so permeable, they soak up the symptoms of others. I relate because I am one. Physical empaths don't have the defenses that others need to screen things out. As a psychiatrist, knowing this significantly changed how I treated these patients. My job ended up teaching them to center and secure themselves, set healthy limits, and release energy they picked up from others. To figure out if you're a physical empath, take the following test. Am I a physical empath? Ask yourself, have I been identified as excessively sensitive or a hypochondriac? Have I ever sat next to somebody who appeared good, but then all of a sudden my eyelids got heavy and I kind of felt like resting? Do I feel uncomfortable or exhausted or sick in crowds and keep from them? Do I feel someone else's anxiety or physical pain in my body? Do I feel exhausted by angry or hostile individuals? Do I run from doctor to doctor for medical tests, but I'm told you're fine? Am I chronically tired or have many inexplicable signs? Do I frequently feel overwhelmed by the world and want to stay home? If you replied yes to 1 to 3 questions, you're at least part empath. Reacting yes to 4 to 5 questions suggests you have a moderate degree of physical empathy. A yes on 6 to 7 indicate you have a high degree of empathy. Marking yes to 8 indicates you are a full-blown empath. Figuring out that you are a physical empath can be a discovery. Rest assured, you are not crazy. You aren't a hypochondriac. You are not envisioning weird things, even though your physician might treat you like an annoyance. You are a delicate person with a present that you should develop and successfully manage. Strategies to give up poisonous energy. Physical empathy does not have to overwhelm you. Now that I can center myself and avoid handling other individuals' pain, empathy has made my life more thoughtful, informative, and richer. Here are some secrets to growing as a physical empath that I've learned so that it does not take a toll on my health. 9 techniques for empaths to stop absorbing other people's disease. Examine. First and foremost, ask yourself, is this sign or emotion mine or someone else's? It could be both. If the feeling like fear or anger is yours, carefully confront what is causing it by yourself or with professional help. If it is not yours, try to pinpoint the clear generator. Move away. If possible, you should distance yourself by at least 20 feet from the suspected source. See if you feel relief. Don't err on the side of not wishing to anger strangers. In a public place, don't waver to change seats if you feel a sense of disease imposing on you. Know your vulnerable points. Each of us has a body part that's more susceptible to soaking up other people's tension. Mine is my gut. Scan your body to decide on yours. Is it your neck? Do you get sore throats, headaches, bladder infections? At the start of symptoms in these areas, place your palm there and keep sending out loving kindness to that area to relieve discomfort. For long-term depression or pain, use this technique daily to strengthen yourself. It is comforting and builds a sense of security and optimism. Surrender to your breath. If you believe you are getting somebody else's signs, focus on your breath for several minutes. That is focusing and connects you to your power. Practice guerrilla meditation. To counter psychological or physical distress, act fast and practice meditation for several minutes. Do this at home, at work, at parties or conferences. Or take haven in the restroom. If it is public, close the stall. Meditate there. Calm yourself. Fixate on positivity and love. Set healthy boundaries and limits. Control how much time you spend listening to demanding people and learn to say no. Remember, no is a total sentence. Envision protection around you. Picture an envelope of white light around your whole body, or with incredibly manipulative people, visualize a fierce black jaguar patrolling and securing your energy field against trespassers. Cultivate your X-ray vision. The spaces between the vertebrae in your lower back are conducive to eliminating pain from the body. It's practical to learn to mindfully direct pain out of these areas by picturing it leaving your body. Say goodbye to pain as it mixes with the giant energy matrix of life, Take a bath or shower. A quick way to liquefy stress is to immerse yourself in water. My bath is my sanctuary after a busy day. It washes away everything from bus exhaust to long hours of flight to pesky signs I have taken on from others. Taking in natural mineral spring water cleanses all that ails. Keep practicing these methods. By safeguarding yourself and your space, you can develop a magic, safe bubble around you that supports you, while all at once driving negative people away. Do not worry if you occasionally pick up pain or some other nasty sign. It happens. With methods to surrender other people's signs, you can have quicker reactions to demanding situations. This will make you feel safer, healthier, and your sensitive feelings can bloom. Chapter 6. Food Empaths. Food is medicine. It can stabilize your sensitive system, but it can also break it. I've observed in my psychiatric practice that overindulging and food dependencies are pretty common among empaths. Food addiction is an unmanageable craving for excess food for which many diet plans and weight reduction programs usually do not prosper. Frequently, the particular addiction is to sugar or carbs. Excess weight can be a way of armoring yourself to stop soaking up other individuals' tension or troubling behavior. Putting on added pounds can make you feel more grounded, and it can function as a buffer against negativity. But grabbing sugar, carbohydrates, or junk foods for a pretty quick fix is a brief and unhealthy solution that gets addictively repeated. Diets often flop for sensitive people because they're unaware that they're eating, and eating way too much, junk foods, to safeguard themselves from frustrating or negative energy. When I say this to my empath clients who are battling with overeating, it's a life-altering insight for them. Take this test to determine if you're a food empath. Do you overindulge when you are mentally overwhelmed? Do you turn to sugar, carbs, and junk food to self-soothe pain? Are you highly vulnerable to the influence food has on your body? Do you get mood swings, brain fog, or feel hazardous from sugar, caffeine, sodas, or processed food? Do you have food allergic reactions and intolerances, such as to gluten or soy? Do you feel more safeguarded from stress when you are heavy? Do you feel energized by healthy, clean food? Are you susceptible to preservatives or gluten in food? Do you feel more vulnerable to tension when you are thin? Here's how to analyze this self-assessment. Responding yes to 1 to 3 questions shows that you have some tendencies towards being a food empath. Responding yes to 4 to 6 questions indicates you have moderate propensities to be a food empath. Responding to more than 6 indicates you are certainly a food empath and use food to self-medicate tension and pain. 6 guidelines for the empathic eater. If you are an empathic eater, you're going to really need to determine energetic stressors that set off eating way too much, such as a draining colleague, an argument with a friend, or feeling declined. Train yourself to clear the tension as quickly as possible to balance your system. Here are 6 ideas from the Empath Survival Guide to release negativity right before you eat those feelings away. You can breathe stress out of your body. When you feel stress, instantly focus on breathing gradually and deeply. This releases that negative energy. Holding your breath out of fear traps toxicity in your body. Water purifies you. You should drink filtered or mountain spring mineral water when you've been exposed to negative energy and have the urge to overindulge. Consume at least 6 glasses a day to keep eliminating contaminants. Take a bath or a shower. Water washes away impurities of all kinds. Limit sugar consumption. Although you could crave carbs and sugar, and also alcohol, they will destabilize you and activate mood swings. This makes you more vulnerable to absorbing undesirable energy. Eat regular protein meals. Protein stabilizes empaths and provides a sense of grounding. It is optimal to have small protein meals 4 to 7 times a day. This program will help you feel energetically more powerful, safer, and more anchored in the world. If you are a vegan, lots of protein is crucial. Don't let your blood glucose drop. Empaths are extremely susceptible to hypoglycemia. If you combine a hectic life with low blood glucose, you're bound to get overwhelmed. So do not skip meals, specifically if you happen to be planning to be in a congested place, when traveling or in business meetings. Consume lots of veggies. If you tend to overindulge and put on weight, vegetables will fill you up and restrict your cravings. You can also include some whole grains, but be careful of exaggerating it and setting off a carbohydrate dependency. Food can be a source of energy or exhaustion. You want to develop dietary habits that serve your sensitivities instead of aggravating them. Then you can maximize the energy you get from food and lessen the protecting defense reaction of empathic overeating. With tools to protect and ground yourself, you won't have the exact same cravings that used to undermine your best intents. Chapter 7. Relationship Empaths. In my practice and workshops, I am struck by how many sensitive people come to me desiring a long-term soulmate. As for me, I can connect to this. That being said, despite online dating services, pricey matchmakers, good friend fix-ups, and blind dates, they still stay single. Or else they're in relationships but feel constantly fatigued and overwhelmed. The reason isn't just that there aren't enough readily available people out there, or that they're neurotic. Personally and expertly, I found that something more is happening here. I found that a vital missing piece to this puzzle has been learning that I'm a relationship empath. Empaths are highly sensitive, instinctual, and caring, but they are also shock absorbers with an extremely permeable nervous system and hyper-reflexes. They experience every little thing, enjoyment and pain, in some cases to an extreme. The amazing part of being so sensitive is that empaths are attuned to people, sometimes even telepathically, to nature, and can be exceptionally sensual, responsive lovers. The disadvantage is that empaths are sponges for the world's angst. Without a membrane between themselves and the world, they unknowingly soak up other people's stress into their own bodies. Then they end up being overloaded, restless, or exhausted. This varies from normal empathy, say when you sympathize with your partner's harrowing day at work. Relationship empathy goes much farther. You combine with your partner and actually feel his or her joys and fears as though they were your own. Thus, romantic relationships, particularly live-in ones, can be challenging. Let's explain more by describing what a relationship empath is, and I present methods to cope and not absorb the stress or symptoms of your mate. If you are highly sensitive and haven't determined this vibrant, you may unconsciously stay away from romantic partners because, deep down, you hesitate getting engulfed. A part of you wants a soulmate, and another part is terrified. That inner push-pull stops you from giving up to a partner. The closer you are to a person, the more intense empathy gets. To feel safe and secure enough to let go in a relationship, it's essential for empaths to learn how to set healthy boundaries and assert their needs. Then intimacy will be possible. To surrender your life to a true love, it is essential to discuss your fears of letting go with each other. Nonetheless, if you're an empath, you may not know what these are or that you're even resisting intimacy. Hence, you cannot communicate your needs or set healthy boundaries. To determine whether you are a relationship empath, take the following quiz. Ask yourself, have I been labeled as extremely sensitive? Am I afraid of getting swallowed up or losing my identity in intimate relationships? Do I prefer taking my own vehicle to places so I can leave when I please? Do I get drained by way too much togetherness and need alone time to refuel? Do I sometimes choose sleeping alone? When my partner and I travel, do I choose adjoining rooms? Do I tend to take on my partner's stress or physical symptoms? Do I feel overwhelmed by sound, smells, crowds, or excessive talking? If you answered yes to 1 to 3 questions, you are at least part relationship empath. Responding yes to 4 to 6 questions shows strong compassionate tendencies with partners. If you answered yes to 7 or more questions, you are a qualified relationship empath. Recognizing that you are a relationship empath is the first step to removing this obstacle to finding a soulmate. After this, you should redefine the traditional paradigm for coupling so you can find a comfortable way of being together. If you are an empath, or if the regular expectations of coupledom do not work for you, practice the following suggestions. 1. Examine a potential mate's compatibility. As you are being familiar with somebody, share that you are sensitive, that you value having alone time. The right person will understand. The wrong person will put you down for being overly sensitive. 2. Vibrations speak louder than words. Notice how you connect to a prospective mate's energy. Ask yourself, does the individual's words match their energy, or is something off? If you have any doubts about his or her credibility, go slow. To keep away from getting included with somebody who won't benefit you, keep tracking the person's energy with your compassionate capabilities to learn who they truly are. 3. Allow silent time at home to decompress. Get in the routine of taking mini breaks throughout the day. Tell your partner how crucial this is to you. Stretch, breathe, walk, meditate, listen to music. This time alone will replenish you. 4. Limit your time socializing with others. Tell your partner what your ideal time frame is to remain at parties or other get-togethers before you burn out. If your comfort level is 3 hours max, even if you love the people, make an agreement with your partner to take your own car if he or she chooses to stay longer. 5. Negotiate your privacy needs. Breathing room is a must. Explore creative living conditions. Ask yourself, what space arrangement is optimal? Do you have a private area to pull away to? Separate bathrooms? Separate houses? Agree not to crowd each other. When traveling together, you may prefer getting adjoining spaces with your own restroom. This works wonders for me. If sharing a space is the only choice, hanging a sheet as a space divider will help. Chapter 8. Intro to the Dark Empath. It might seem that people with Ray's dark triad qualities aren't compassionate, but it isn't so easy. In a fundamental sense, empathy serves people higher in dark traits. Dark qualities may be a necessary evil, perhaps important for group survival at critical times. Compassion or empathy, while serving altruism, is also a tool for the Machiavellian mind, which needs good intel for assessing and potentially making the most of others. 2 basic kinds of empathy. Compassion comes in 2 types, cognitive and affective. They are independent of one another, but also usually work in tandem. Cognitive empathy is the capability to see things from another's viewpoint. Affective empathy is the capacity to vibe with another's emotions. Cognitive empathy is more powerful in narcissism, while effective empathy is weaker. Psychopathy might serve the greater good. In performance-demanding circumstances like those faced by first responders, healthcare workers, soldiers, and others in high-stakes circumstances, feelings may disappear, opening to cool, streamlined estimation. Galligan and Bates, 2017, call this adaptive psychopathy, defining the quarantine vector within which compassionate empaths marry psychopathic psychological procedures that are useful for handling threats and abuse. We really need to understand the main role of empathy in the dark triad, just because it relates to crucial aspects, including aggression, personal and professional performance, and well-being. Research has not systematically looked at the role of empathy in the dark triad, or whether there is a compassionate version of the dark triad, a dark empath. To investigate this possibility, researchers from Nottingham Trent University in the UK performed studies of 991 participants in their early 20s to 30s and about 30% male. They completed the following. Dark traits. The dark triad of personality scale to measure Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy, together with the narcissistic personality inventory to look at grand narcissism, the 5-factor narcissism inventory to gauge susceptible narcissism, the Levinson self-report psychopathy scale, estimating absence of care and callousness, impulsivity, and antisocial tendencies, and the Machiavellianism scale, looking at attitudes about humanity, moral shortage, and manipulativeness. Empathy. The question of cognitive and affective compassion, to look at elements of cognitive empathy, including perspective taking, and the capability to imagine others' inner worlds in real time, online simulation, and affective empathy, including but not limited to immediately mimicking others' emotions, emotional contagion, reacting to other people's emotional signals, proximal responsivity, and reacting to the psychological tone in different settings, peripheral responsivity. Big 5 personality. The 5-element personality model, gauged with the International Personality Item Pool, to approximate openness to new experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Relational aggressiveness. Using the indirect hostility scale, individuals suggested where they landed on 3 scales for tendency to socially exclude others: social exemption, the application of mean-spirited humor, harmful humor, and how much they try to make others guilt induction. Depression, stress, and anxiety. Using the depression, anxiety, and stress scale to look at psychological well-being. Capability to enjoy life. Gauging anhedonia using the motivation and enjoyment scale, examining social, professional, and recreational enjoyment, drive for closeness, and motivation to take part in activities. Self-criticism. Gauged with subscales of the self-compassion scale to look at self-judgment and over-identification with negative self-evaluations. It takes all kinds. Why would there be dark empaths? Presumably, dark qualities communicate evolutionary benefit. Otherwise, they would not be as common as they are. People who have the ability to control and exploit others, and who are able to deploy demented thinking, have a benefit sometimes. They could be critical for community survival, providing a contingent freed from inhibition, higher in aggression, able to focus in and get the job done. It's a fragile balance, as too much dark triad damages groups from within their own ranks. Dark empaths have a higher ability to make sense of others' intents and needs, to help make choices while maintaining the ability to engage adaptive psychopathy when needed, paralleling the relationship between empaths and typicals. The 4 groups together may offer checks and balances to sustain a dynamically adaptive community. Dark compassion will resonate for the ones who have observed both dark qualities and empathy in themselves and others, but can't totally connect with the traditional dark triad. Greater empathy combined with dark qualities might protect relationship quality while also allowing access to empathic information to farther less savory machinations, the best of both worlds. Chapter 9. The 10 Characteristics Empathic People Share. The trademark of an empath is feeling and taking in other individuals' emotions and/or physical symptoms because of their high feelings. Those people filter the world through their intuition and have a hard time intellectualizing their feelings. As a psychiatrist and empath, I know the challenges of being a highly sensitive person. When overwhelmed with the effect of demanding feelings, empaths could experience panic attacks, depression, chronic tiredness, food, sex, and drug binges, or show a lot of other physical signs that defy standard analysis. But empaths can also learn how to center themselves so they don't feel too much or end up being overloaded. The first step is to acknowledge that you are an empath. Here are the leading 10 qualities of an empath. Just take a look and see if you can relate. 1. Empaths are highly sensitive. Empaths are naturally giving people, spiritually open, and great listeners. If you want heart, empaths have got it. Through thick and thin, these first-rate nurturers will be there for you. However, they can quickly have their emotions hurt too. Empaths are typically told that they're too sensitive and need to toughen up. 2. Empaths soak up other people's emotions. Empaths are highly attuned to other people's moods, good and bad. They feel every little thing, at times to an extreme. They take on negativity like anger or anxiety, which can be tiring for them. If they are around peace and love, however, their bodies take these on and flourish. 3. Many empaths are reclusive. Empaths end up being overwhelmed in crowds, which can magnify their empathy. They tend to be introverted and choose one-to-one contact or little groups. Even when an empath is more extroverted, they could choose to restrict how much time they spend in a crowd or at a party. 4. Empaths are highly instinctive. Empaths experience the world through their instinct. It is very important for them to develop their intuition and listen to their gut feelings about people. That helps empaths find positive relationships and keep away from energy vampires. 5. Empaths need alone time. As super responders, empaths find being around people can be draining, so they occasionally need time alone to recharge. Even a brief escape prevents emotional overload. This is an example. Empaths like to take their own vehicles when they go places, so they can leave when they please. 6. Empaths can end up being overloaded in intimate relationships. Way too much togetherness can be tough for an empath, so they might avoid intimate relationships. Deep down, they are afraid of being engulfed and losing their identity. For empaths to be at ease in a relationship, the traditional paradigm for being a couple must be redefined. 7. Empaths are targets for energy vampires. An empath's sensitivity makes him or her specifically easy marks for energy parasites, whose fear or rage can sap their energy and peace of mind. These predators might do more than drain an empath's physical energy. Specifically unsafe ones like narcissists, who lack empathy and are only worried about themselves, can make empaths actually believe they are unworthy and unlovable. Other vampires include the victim, the persistent talker, the drama queen, and more. 8. Empaths become replenished in nature. The busyness of daily life can be too much for an empath. The natural world nourishes and restores them. It helps them release their concerns, and they can take sanctuary in the presence of green, wild things, the ocean, or other bodies of water. 9. Empaths have highly tuned senses. An empath's nerves can get frayed by noise, smells, or excessive talking. 10. Empaths have substantial hearts, but sometimes give too much. Empaths are big-hearted people and try to alleviate the pain of others. A homeless individual holding a cardboard "I'm hungry" sign at a hectic crossway, a hurt child, or a troubled good friend. It's natural to want to connect to these people and ease their pain. But empaths do not stop there. Rather, they take it on. Suddenly, they're the one feeling drained or upset when they have felt fine before. As an empath, I use many strategies to protect my sensitivities, like intense time management, setting limitations with people who are draining, meditation to relax and focus myself, and heading out into nature. I find being an empath a gift, but I had to learn how to take care of myself. Empaths have unique needs. If you are among us, it is necessary to honor your needs and communicate them to your loved ones. This has been Empath: Relationships, Empathy, and Dark Psychology. Written by Camelia Henson. Narrated by Samantha Novak. Copyright year 2020 by Camelia Henson. Production copyright by Camelia Henson.